Welcome back to Big Dig's Experience. Today I am sitting in my 2004 Mini Cooper S. Car currently has 164,000 miles on it. I did not initially purchase this car. This car was a trade. I had a 1973 VW Super Beetle that I purchased and intended to fix up, but life got in the way. I didn't really have the motivation to do it at the time when I sat in my garage for about 6 months or so. Then I decided to sell it. And then a nice gentleman came about and he's like, hey, I have a 2004 Mini Cooper S. It's a manual. It drives, I like to come and see your car. So he actually drove the Mini Cooper from Maryland down to Virginia, which is a quite, a drive, about an hour or so drive. And we made a deal, we made a trade. And the VW at the time, it drove, but it was not safe to drive on the street. I didn't trust it to drive on the street. It stalled. The engine needed a lot of work. And when I saw the Mini, the Mini also needed a lot of work. So I don't know if you hear it, but the car has major exhaust leak. The car shakes at a certain speed, especially when it warms up. The cooling fan doesn't work. The thermostat housing leaked, so I had to fix that. Then I fixed that, and the car started to overheat. Then I realized the engine compartment has so much rust in there. So I went to YouTube and started researching how to remove rust. I will link the video to the one that actually helped me get the rust out and get the car back to its normal operating system, so it won't overheat. But the car has issues. The gas gauge doesn't work properly. It fluctuates back and forth. It's loud. The sealing needs to be replaced. The liner is like sagging. Vibration noise. Holy mother. There's like so much stuff rattling in this car. It needs to be washed. It needs to be cleaned. And I want to take you guys on this journey. This is the first of many videos I'm making. But I like to make a couple of pros and cons about this car. Regardless of the noise, it's a comfortable car to drive. I've been driving it now for about, I want to say a good 5 months, 4 to 5 months. It only let me down once when it started to overheat after I changed the thermostat, which was very weird, because prior to changing the thermostat, the car never overheated. And I came to find out the fan relay, the fan relay or something else in the actual fan compartment has gone out. So it was interesting because it had fresh coolant. It wasn't leaking coolant anymore. Before it was leaking coolant, but it never overheated. So I don't understand what happened when I flushed the system and I put new coolant in there and it started to overheat. So that was weird. Eventually what I did was, I'm like, you know what, I think the water pump is bad, because I've tried everything to realize what's going on. I tried everything, and I ended up buying a new water pump. I still haven't installed it. And I did I took out the rust out of the system. I put this solution in there, and I drove it for about 3 or 4 days back and forth from work, and with my eye always on the temperature gauge, hoping the car wouldn't overheat, At the time also, I did not know the fan is not working. The coolant fan is not working. I did not know that. So as I'm talking to you guys, the car's cooling fan still not working, but the car doesn't overheat. There's enough airflow into the engine compartment that keeps it cold, and I'm running the air conditioning at the same time. So what happens is the high-speed fan kicks in, keeps the engine cool for now until I get a chance to change the whole fan and put in the new fan that actually, you know, operates correctly. The solution that I use goes in clear, and after it does this thing, it comes out black. So the rust that it cleans out, it cleans it out black. And of course I use distilled water to flush out the system. I flushed out the system maybe like 3 times or 4 times. And finally on the 4th time, I put the coolant in there, and you know, so far, knock on wood, it has not overheated. I've been driving it for about a month or so now, and it's been operating very well. So I mean, I don't want to make this video as boring as it probably looks like, but you know, I just want to give you guys a little rundown of what this car has put me through so far. Not much, I have to say, not much at all, except that snafu. I did change the plugs on this car, super easy. It had a valve cover gasket leak, fixed that. That was also very, very easy to do. One problem I ran into was that the screws holding the valve cover down had all rusted, and that was quite a challenge to get those screws out. And get ready for this, those screws are $20 a pop, and it takes, guess how many screws? 10. And if you do some research, you might be able to find a pack for about $80, and that's what I did. I found the pack for that cost for 80 bucks. Replaced all the screws, replaced all the gaskets for the valve cover, and you know, thank God so far no leaks. You know, I check the oil once a week, making sure there's no oil leaks, making sure the oil level is not dropping down. I check the coolant level. So far so good, nothing, there's no oil drops on the driveway, so all good for now. But there's a lack of performance. I believe the Supercharger has not been serviced in a very, very long time, so I intend to do that. I have the oil, I have all the seals. I will be replacing the water pump as well, because the water pump is placed right next to the Supercharger. It's actually attached to the Supercharger, so I will be replacing that. I will be replacing the serpentine belts that's currently attached to it. I will be replacing the cooling fan, and I will be fixing the exhaust leak. I'm not replacing the exhaust. I am gonna detach the exhaust. I'm gonna weld it back together, because I believe from the sound of it, there's 2 leaks, one from the back of the car and one from the engine compartment, and that's where the flex pipe is. And these cars have been known to crack at the flex pipe. So I'm gonna take the headers out. I am going to inspect it. Most likely there's a crack in the header. I will be welding that back together, and I'm gonna put it back together. Only reason I don't want to put new headers, because I don't really want to spend too much money on this car. I don't know if I'm going to keep it for long or not. I'm only driving it now because of stupid gas prices, how expensive everything is. So and for now, that's it. But the major issue with this car is when the car warms up, after I've been driving it for about 15-20 minutes, what happens is if I'm around, I want to say about 35 to 40 miles an hour, when I'm in 4th and 5th gear, and I hit the accelerator, the car shakes. The front of the car shakes violently, as if like the engine's like loose and, you know, it's going all over the place. It's like nothing tying it down. So I've been doing some research from the forums and everything that I've read so far. They say it's the passenger side axle, and the passenger side axle is the long axle with an extension portion of it. And so I have that as well. I will be replacing that. I think that was about $70 or $80 with the connected bearings. So that is another thing I will be replacing. And, you know, if that fixes all the issues and problems, you know, as far as sound, leak, fan, you know, the engine should be fine for another probably like 50 or 60,000 miles. You know, I'm not racing the car. I'm just driving it back and forth to work because of how the gas prices have increased. But, you know, I don't know if the camera is showing the vibration or not, but right now I'm in the 5th gear, and it mostly happens when I'm going uphill, like slight uphill. The car is struggling to actually pull. So so I have to see if it's the axle and if that's going to solve the problem. And if that doesn't solve the problem, there might be another thing called the PVC valve, I believe, is on top of the valve cover. So I have to check. So whenever you open the oil cap on your valve cover, if you put some sort of you know, I usually suggest putting like a little latex glove over the cap where the cap goes, but hold it very, very tight. The engine compartment is supposed to create a vacuum. So when you put the glove on the opening with the where you pour the oil, there should be a suction, and that is the vacuum working. If that does not suck the or like create a vacuum, that means there's something wrong with the valve. There's something wrong with the vacuum in the engine compartment. So that needs to be addressed. So I'm gonna look at that as well. Another thing, the speedometer, I don't think is like 100% accurate. I believe it's off by like 3 or 4 miles, which is not a big deal. Probably makes me drive slower than I should be. But other than that, I mean, you know, the car is 2004. I mean, heck, it's 18 years old. 164,000 miles on the car. The car has probably been abused formerly by its previous owner, because it is a supercharged. It does have pickup when it's cold. And I've also noticed when sometimes when I hit the gas really hard, it skips. Like I feel like the power cuts off for a split second. That might be the wires, the spark plug wires. But for now, it drives fine. But these are the issues that I will be addressing, and I will be taking you guys along the ride with it. So, you know, I would welcome any comments from you guys to maybe if you've experienced the same issues as I'm experiencing. You know, the overheating of the car when you change a thermostat, for example. Why isn't the water not flowing? Also, the vibration in the car. When you hit the accelerator, the engine, the front of the car shakes, and it's struggling to pick up. The power loss and all that stuff. So your guidance might help me actually to fix this car up to its original state, and to a certain point, of course, for it to become for it to be operable for daily driving. you know, versus, you know, every day you drive it, it's like, oh my god, is it gonna explode? Is it gonna, the engine's gonna blow up? Is it gonna overheat? Am I gonna get stuck? So again, it's almost a 20-year-old car. There's gonna be a lot of vibrations, a lot of noises, you know, and the car has been lowered, so the springs are a little stiff, and when I drive, it's pretty bumpy in the car. But I already have the liner. I'm gonna replace the liner. I'm gonna replace the parts that I've described, the axle. I'm gonna fix the headers, and we'll go from there. Until then, please stay tuned for the upcoming videos of the repairs. Meantime, please leave your comments down below, share and subscribe the video with your friends, so I could get more comments and more feedback on what you would, what do you think the issues are, and what do you recommend me doing to fix the problem. And I think it'll be a good educational video. You know, people like to see things versus just reading about it. So I would like to make follow-up videos as I repair every piece of this car or every bit of this car. So with that, guys, thanks for tuning in. I will catch you guys later.